Morning, everybody. You are watching a film called Straight Laced this week, and I'm guessing having a look at the case study. This is something that you can use for your case study in addition to the other articles that have been provided. I hope that you enjoy the film. I think it's a really great look at how people are navigating gender and identity and expectations and roles. Especially, I love this because of how it deals with youth. Even though teenagers have also experienced the same kind of socialization around gender that the rest of us have, I think that there's a lot of potential and possibility for change, where sort of our youth are concerned. And so it's a great look, I think, into where they currently operate, and what we can do then as a response, right, as a community to further the kind of changes that they identify as being necessary, in large measure due to the struggles that they face and the constraints that they feel and that they identify while they're talking throughout the interviews in this film. So the film sort of it's very candid. There are these discussions with the person behind the camera. Sometimes perhaps the questions are quite direct and quite specific, and sometimes maybe a little bit more open-ended, so that there is some freedom to kind of discuss the stuff at large and more broadly. I think there's a lot to be taken here from in terms of affect and in terms of negotiation, and that will be really helpful with your case study, I think. And that relates to the readings that you've been doing and that you are doing for this week. Affect, for example, lots of the people who are interviewed, the students who are interviewed, identify ways that they negotiate their own responses, right? Their own display or performance of their gender, depending on the community that they are operating in, right, or who's watching. And so there's some really interesting stuff, I think, in terms of gender as a performance, gender as something that we can make choices around to some degree, but also in terms of identity, the things that we have no control of. So A, in some ways, who we are and how we identify, and B, some of those externals that are put upon us by the world at large that we also have no control over, and are just kind of forced to figure out a way to navigate and to respond to. And that often this stuff involves issues of safety, right? Of even just being able to be who we are. And so really, the film highlights, I think, just how critical gender is to any kind of conversation that we can be having about how people operate in the world and about aspects of identity. That this is really a key factor, right? And it has really profound material and immediate impacts for the way that people experience the world around them. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you've been enjoying the reading so far. I know that some of it is tough stuff, and that there are sort of, perhaps some things that are asking you to think a little bit beyond what you are normally accustomed to. But this film, I'm really hoping, brings a lot of those things together, right? So that lots of the reading that you've done so far, all of a sudden maybe will concretize, and you will have a really solid aha moment if there's been stuff that you've been struggling with, that these students do a great job of, in a very sort of tangible way, putting things together that we've sort of been looking at throughout the course of the semester so far. If you have questions about the case study, please feel free to contact me. I'll talk about it again in the video that I'm going to post later this week, maybe on the weekend. But there are articles provided, and what you want to be doing is thinking about sort of how a micro example, whatever it is that you choose, operates in and of itself, right? What is this particular thing about, this thing all on its own? But then also more broadly, what should we learn about the context in which it's operating, right? The larger sort of context around it. What does it tell us about the broader, right? So the micro and the macro. That's what you're looking to achieve with this case study. So really, to pick an example that you can look at that gives you a very, very specific example in terms of gender, but then also that you can relate to sort of the broader social context, the broader world. This film, like I said, should help to maybe guide you a little bit on that, and show you, because these students do a nice job of talking about who they are, the specific, and then linking that to the broader world. So that's sort of the goal. You've got some questions that you can answer in terms of research questions, which come, sort of once you've done your investigation, when you pick your sort of topic or your theme or your issue, you're going to lay out some issue statements or questions kind of that are going to drive what you're choosing to look at and the sources you choose to use. Then you do your research, right? You're going to have thought about some things now that you know what you know. Then you're going to have some more specific questions that you're seeking to answer, and then you're going to offer your interpretation of the material that you've looked at. So we're going to talk about it again next week. I hope that's a little bit helpful, though, in terms of getting you started and maybe guiding the kind of choice you might make about what you're planning to look at, and also that can help you to apply a specific lens while you're watching the film, so that it will be something that you can draw on in your case study, and to sort of help you as you move through your own material. Your papers are coming back to you. Most of them were well done. There's a couple people who just clearly misunderstood a little bit, and so if you are one of those folks, you'll be getting an email from me telling you to just reconfigure this or just tweak this a little bit or whatever the case might be. But otherwise, you should have your marks. If you have questions, you can let me know. I hope that you enjoy this film. I think it does a great job. It also really inspires me in terms of, every time I watch it, in terms of the work that's possible, right? These youth speak so very, I think, clearly and eloquently to things that often seem so abstract, right? We get caught up in theorizing and talking about these concepts, and they seem so abstract, but they do such a great job of, like I said, sort of initially bringing it into the here and now, the lived, immediate impacts. And that gives us a place to start when we are thinking about what we need to change and how we might go about doing so. And so it's also, I think, it can be a really inspiring piece to watch, and that can hopefully guide some of your work that's remaining in this course. So, quick hello. I'm going to see you again here in a few days to talk a little bit more about your case study, but I hope that starts things off on the right foot and allows you, like I said, to sort of watch this film and engage in a particular kind of way that will help you as you think about how your case study is going to develop and what you're going to choose to look at and that kind of thing. So, have a good week. I'll see you back here shortly. Take care.